everybody, it's Julie, and I'm here with another in the series of the Spring Blossom Junk Journal Start to Done. So if you don't have a book that you were able to gut out, and you're waiting for the cereal box or cracker box or some kind of box tutorial on how to make your cover for the Spring Blossom Junk Journal, then this is the video that you want to watch. So I have made, okay, so my junk journal that I have for my 30 days of thankfulness, it is actually made out of a cereal box, okay? And for this particular one, I believe it was single, I think. But we're going to do a double. We're going to do two parts cardboard. I had done a 2-inch spine on this. The one thing that's really kind of cool about doing, well, there's many things that are cool about it. It doesn't cost you anything because it's totally recycled product that you're using. Oh, there's a box top. Grandson collects box tops. He gets a book for every 50 box tops he brings in. So I'm supposed to keep these. So anyway, don't want to mess that up. Okay, so so what I have is a Honey Nut Cheerios box. This one is the 12.25 ounce box. The first thing I'm going to do, we're just going to jump right in and start going, is I'm going to find the place that the box comes back and is connected and glued. And I'm just going to reach in and open it up there. Okay, so I have this. Something else that you can use is if you have like one of those yellow note paper pads or some kind of note paper pad, the cardboard that's at the back of that. Also, the cardboard that you would find in a scrapbook paper pad, if you have one of those. So this is the other box. We have, like I said, I have two boxes that are exactly alike. Of course, that first one came undone much easier than this one is. It's okay as long as we don't move on to the... You could cut this with scissors. Okay, so I have two of the open pieces. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the first one and we're going to fold up these bottom edges here, and we're going to come in and just cut your box on the seam, only because that's probably the easiest place. You got to cut it somewhere. So folding it and cutting it here. Okay, now we don't need this piece. So that's going to give us our first straight edge. And need to remember to let it go down further. Okay, so then I'm going to come over and, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and use my, I didn't want to because it hurts my thumb. Okay, so we're going to come over and just cut this here. Okay, and just go along this middle seam, this little side seam from your cereal box. That's going to become your spine, so you do want to be very careful with it. So we have our one straight edge here. I'm going to come back and I'm going to cut another straight edge there. That's much better. Okay, Now, our measurements to have the same size book that I'm making are going to be, where did I put them? Okay, it was 5 1/4 by 8 3/4. I should have wrote it down, huh? Let's see. Yes, 8 3/4. So 8 3/4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And then it's okay. You're going to have a gutter that's going to give you a little bit more area. So we're going to go with 5 1/4. So this direction is 5 1/4. You know what? I'm going to do it this way, because I like the seam, the cut that we just got on that one better. So we're measuring to 5 1/4. We're cutting this off. It keeps moving my my thing around. It's moving it around. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut this straight. Okay. So that is cut straight. That's the one we're going to use. And this is cut straight. So we're going to come over here and go to 5 1/4 and cut it. And you can set this aside in case you need a extra piece for a spine, in case something doesn't work out right. And then we're going to go to 8 3/4. Okay. So we have our first piece. We're going to come back and we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to cut this piece off all the way across. Cut this. Okay. And we'll come in and cut this one. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is get a straight edge. Okay. So the first thing is to come in and just put it somewhere, get a straight edge. So this long one, this is going to be our anchor straight edge right there. Okay, and that's going to give us our straight edge here. Okay, so this right here is a right angle and it is our straight edge. We're going to come back here with our 5 1/4. 5 1/4. We'll save this just in case we need it. And our 8 3/4. 8 3/4. So there, that is going to be part of our book. Okay, so that's one piece. We happen to have another Cheerios box. We're going to go ahead and cut it just to make it easier to work with. So I've cut this piece off. We're going to cut it around. And with those pieces that came from your note paper, your notepads, probably not going to have to do the extra of cutting off the outside edge. But True Junk Journal, for those of you following along that are wanting to make something out of the items that you have at home, please do follow along, because I'm going to show you many ways that you'll be able to do what I'm doing using items that you might already have from your home. Okay. So this is going to be our main straight edge, our anchor side. We'll come over here. This is our other anchor side. Okay. Then we're going to come here. We're going to do our 5 1/4. 5 1/4. So we need 4 of these, 2 for the front and 2 for the back, to have that sturdy feeling like a book would have. If you're not, you can do this with just a single. That's what my thankfulness journal was done with, just a single page. But if you want it to be stronger, then you're going to want to do the second set of cardboard together. So just cutting around the outside of this one. Okay, and so you know, my book that I'm using has about a 1-inch spine. Now you can choose to go ahead and put a larger spine on your junk journal here. Okay, so we're going to go, first we need our anchor. So this is our anchor, that's our straightest straight edge. Then we're going to get our right angle. We'll come in and cut this. So now this angle becomes our right angle. And now we're going to go to the 5 1/4. So the videos in this series are all going to be in real time. You're going to be able to see how exactly how I do things, and including the mistakes. They show up too. There we go. So we have 4 pieces, and then with the 2 together, we are in great shape. So what I'm going to do here is close up some of the pieces of the kit. It came down off the thing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take out the glue and go ahead and start these drying. Okay, so I have my liquid glue, my Tombow Mono liquid glue, and oh, that's for the bottom, duh. It's not gonna work, Julie. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead, and I'm using the bottom because I think that this is amazing that these have this bottom piece on here. And I'm going to go to the edge. I'm going to go to the edge over here. Now, if you're concerned, you can go ahead and sand down your shiny box. Okay. You can go ahead and brush it with the brush or your finger. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on. So it looked like it was pretty well covered to me. So just going and making sure my edges meet up. And then I'm going to go and come and push out so that the glue comes all the way to the edge. Not as worried about this because this is going to get covered with fabric. On this particular one, we are going to cover it with fabric. So we're going to come over here and do the second one. Like I said, if you don't want it as thick, you can skip this step and just have a single board. But what I have seen is that sometimes the single board will warp and you'll have like a curly cover. And you might not want a curly cover. But, you know, the curly cover thing can happen on a real book too. So I'm taking and I'm putting the shiny sides together. And what that's going to do is it's going to save us from having to cover this if we didn't want to with like music paper or something. Okay, so there we have our cereal boxes are glued together, and we're letting them dry. Okay, and we know with the liquid glue, we need to set it and come back, or this is something I've discovered, set it and come back and press it one more time. No matter what it is that I'm attaching, I seem to have to go back and do that. And I'm okay with that because this stuff dries really good. It dries really hard. I've been very happy with it. I was introduced to it by I'm a Cool Mom on YouTube. She uses it. This is the only glue that she uses. I still use some other glues. Partially because I have them. It's like, why would I not use them? I have them. Okay, so next we are going to do our binding. And we need, you can do, to be the same size as my book, you're going to want to be 1 inch by 9 3/4, or excuse me, 8 3/4 by 1 inch, or you can go a little bit bigger. And I'll tell you what, I would go just a little bit bigger because you can. Okay, I would, because you can. I would. So there's my my long straight piece, and this first one I'm just gonna cut it and see how big it'll let me be. Okay, so that's my. I lost my straight. Lost my right angle. There's my right angle. Okay, so we'll turn this over. And see, 1 inch is going to be here. Now, the other thing, though, is when I cut out my material, you know what? I'm going to go with the 1 inch, because when I cut out the material, I'll show you. When I laid this down, I got to keep that whole blue strip from over here to be able to use in other things. And I really like that. So I think I'm just going to cut out the inch. Because I want to be able to add some of the material and stuff to my tassel. Where are you? Okay. Oops, sorry. Okay. I'm just measuring it for sure, so I give you totally the right measurement. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do 1 1/4. Okay, 1 1/4. Your spine is going to be 1 1/4. Okay. And then it's going to be 8 3/4. So 1 1/4 by 8 3/4. There's one. Okay. You could save that and use it as a tab in your junk journal. You could. It's totally junk. I've had a couple people comment that you're not making real junk journals because you're using new stuff. And they're right. But I do also make the real ones with the real stuff. And they're cool too. I don't have a whole lot of vintage and old stuff yet. But I do save, I've saved my junk forever. Just ask my husband. Okay, so we have our spine. And before I get gluing, I'm just going to make sure that I did cut them correctly. I did. Okay. So same thing, we're going to go ahead and use this one. I usually use the bottle of glue that's getting closest to being at the bottom, because this gets, you know, it's like I had like, when I discovered about that there was a bottom on these, I had like 4 things of glue that were, I was just getting tired of waiting for the glue to come down to the bottom. And the phone rings and nobody will be there, so I'm not answering it. Does that happen to you? Phone rings, and if you don't answer it, I let the answer machine answer it. I screen most of our calls now because we don't have caller ID, and it puts me in a bad mood to tell the solar people that I'm sorry, I'm not interested, and the heating people that I don't need my ducts cleaned. Okay, so that one is ready, and we will go ahead and let them dry. So that will be the end of this video. I hope you are following along and ready to go on to the next thing that we'll be doing, which will be putting the material onto our covers. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you are following along, I'd love to hear about it. Put it in the comments down below. And also come and show your work in Scrap All About It. It's my Facebook group, a place that we can be a little closer and see what each other's doing. And it's becoming a really fun little community. So again, Scrap All About It, my Facebook group. Find something to celebrate every day. Don't forget to subscribe, and have an amazing day.